Okay, got an easy lesson for you today. One thing to note, and then we'll just jump right into the homework and I'll show you how to do it, is this picture right here. We're going to start creating angles, and so we're going to put it on a coordinate grid, but just know, like, if we start at 0, we're going to start right here. This far is 90 degrees. I guess we start with all the way around is 360 degrees. So, and then we go in 90-degree increments. So if all the way around is 360, a quarter of the way is 90, half is 180, 3/4 is 270, all the way around is 90. You can refer to this picture if you forget. Okay, so graphing angles is pretty basic. You don't have to be perfect with this. Like if I'm going to do number 1, I'll do some of these for you. If I do number 1, and you can put this on new paper, or you can try to get it in here if you can draw real small or whatever. But where is 160? You don't have to be perfect. Like I said, I showed you that picture. This is 90, this is 180. So like if I'm going to graph 160, somewhere, you can be more precise, but probably something like that. That's what 160 is going to look like. Number 2, 280. I know that 270 is right here, right? So where's 270? Again, 90, 180, 270. So if I'm doing 280, it's going to be right here. Here's 280. You're also supposed to draw like, that's 280 degrees, kind of show how you're going. Because if we get a -1, if I jump down and do number 8, number 1 is -50. So if I'm doing -50, I'm not going to go counterclockwise, I'm going to go clockwise. And where would that be? Well, this would be -90, so where would -50 be? Roughly right here. Now, if you get measures larger than 360, okay, don't be alarmed, and we can do any of these. Looks like I'll do number 12. 580, if I start in the standard position, if I go all the way around, I have gone 360, okay? So if we can't do their math, those numbers are kind of big. I'm trying to graph 580. I have already gone 360, okay? How many more degrees do I need to go? I need to go another 220, right? So if I keep going, there's 180. Where does 220 stop? It's going to fall somewhere between 180 and 270. And again, you don't have to be perfect here. So there's 560. Now let me do one more of these. Or that was 580. Is there any more negative? Okay, so number 9, -420. Okay, so we're going negative. Again, all the way around is 360. So, I'm -420, but I'm just going to do 420 minus 360 because I know I'm going negative. So I need to go another 60, okay? So another 60 degrees from where I've started. So I went all the way around 360, another 60 is going to, I did a bad job drawing that, but you get the point, right? Just draw them, you don't have to be perfect, and that's how you do 1 through 15, okay? And yes, if you looked at the assignment, I did assign some a lengthy assignment, but none of this should take very long. Okay, coterminal angles. Now, coterminal angles is basically, if I draw an angle, like if I draw 65, and by the way, if you read these directions, you don't have to draw them, you just have to find them, okay? If I were to graph angle 65, it is extremely accurate to say that there is an infinite number of angles that land, in the same spot as the measure 65. And that's because if I go around, if I go around the circle, so we have 65, if I go around the circle another 360 degrees, that measure is 425 degrees, but it will land in the exact same spot. So 425 is coterminal to 65. Now if you read the directions, it wants you to do a -1. So how would we do a -1? We're just going to use our calculator. We would do 65 minus 360. And again, if we went negative 360 degrees around, then negative 295 degrees would land in the same spot. So you don't have to draw it, you do have to understand it, and you do need to be able to do it. But one positive coterminal angle to 65 is 425, and one negative one is negative 295. Now I guess I'll do another one just in case somebody doesn't understand it. But if you understand it, speed me up, go on to the next section. This should be pretty easy. So number 17, negative 75 plus 360. So one coterminal to that positive is 285. If I want to do a negative one coterminal to negative 75, I'm going to subtract 360 degrees and go around again, and that one is negative 435. So pretty basic there, and that whole section's good. Of course, if you notice in the homework, I'm not going to make you do the radian measures. I'm going to keep it easy for you on a Friday. All right, next section. So numbers 34 through 42 involves you taking a degree measurement. So again, not trying to not get very complicated here. We have in geometry, trigonometry, we have measures that can be measured in degrees, which most people understand, and we can also have radian measures, which have a degree measure equivalency. So if I say something is, I'm trying to remember mine, I think pi over 2 is equal to 90, pi is equal to 180. Those are equivalent measurements. It's like a decimal and a fraction. So the first thing we've got to be able to do once we understand that is to convert between degrees and radians, and the last section you're going to do is radians and degrees. Now, it's a simple conversion, so if number 34, if I'm going to convert from degrees to radians, I will take 140 and times it by the fraction pi over 180. Okay, now without any teaching, this can look complicated, and I know I said times pi over 180, but to do it, and if you want to do it fast and use your calculator, you're actually going to do, and this is the conversion, but your answer will be in radians, and radians is always in terms of pi. So to get it, it will actually end up being 180 or 140 divided by 180. And again, we want the fraction, so math fraction that. And your answer for number 7 is 7 pi over 9. Now, that's the simplified version, which is what we want, but like if we were to go old school, hey, if we multiply this together, this is 140 pi over 180, or if you were to do this without a calculator, this is how you would do it, and then you would have to reduce the 140 over 180. Calculator is much quicker, and the answer is 7 pi over 9. But that's the conversion. So you want to speed that up, you just divide by 180. Remember to put your answer in terms of pi. So these are real easy as well. So negative 260 divided by 180, math fraction, and so my answer for 35 is negative 13 pi over 9. So the last thing you have to do today now is to reverse that. So to take a radian measure and convert it to degrees. Still relatively simple, a little more work or maybe a little more understanding. The conversion is the inverse of the previous. So we did pi over 180, pi over 180. This is 180 over pi, okay? And so as far as using your calculator, it's a little more complex. Just remember this is in degrees, and if you think about fractional math, if I were to multiply and divide these, the pi's are going to cancel, and I'm just going to get a numeric number. And you can use your calculator several ways to get it, but know every time if you're going from radians to degrees, the pi is going to cancel. And so if I were to simplify this fraction, I guess the easiest way to use my calculator to simplify it is to multiply across the top, so negative 3 times 180. And then you have a lonely 5 down there that you need to divide by. And so the degree measure for number 43 is negative 108. If you get lost in this, like if you're just trying to do it only in your calculator, it is easy to get lost. Let me show you another one. 7 pi over 6 needs to be converted to degrees, so we do 180 over pi. Again, pi's cancel, and your answer is going to be 7 times 180, and this time we're going to divide by 6. So that's the conversion. That's my answer, 210. That should be enough to do some work. I mean, I guess it shouldn't take you long. Have your little free time. Have a good weekend. All right, that's it.